Ladies and gentlemen, it's official. The Marvels is now being considered the biggest flop in the entire history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They are not in a good place. And on top of that, South Park's special has turned Disney into a complete laughingstock. So, you may ask, what is Disney's answer to that PR and financial catastrophe? Their plan for the future to fix it? How are they going to get out of this unfortunate predicament? Perhaps they will finally rethink their strategy, stop forcing the woke ideology on viewers, cease pandering to non-existent audiences through race-swapping characters and promoting girl bosses?
No!
Hello, good people of the internet. There is a certain type of individual. Everybody knows people like that, or at least knows the type. Someone who always knows best. Someone who can't fathom the idea of being wrong, who will never admit any mistake, even if the absurdity of what they say and do is painfully obvious to the rest of the world. The embodiment of obstinate. Someone who has mastered the art of stubbornness without the pesky inconvenience of self-awareness. You probably know at least one character like that. It may be someone from your circle of friends, your coworker, maybe your boss. Perhaps even a family member. I'm thinking that wacky uncle who doesn't get invited to family reunions anymore because he's an insufferable bullhead and every conversation ends with him throwing tantrums if others don't agree with his my way or the highway mentality. In other words, I'm talking about the masters of doubling down on their point of view. Individuals who sooner or later become so annoying in their inflexibility that it ends with them losing everything and ending up universally abhorred. If they don't change their attitude, if they keep resisting the world, trying to show them how much of a burden they are to everyone around, then sooner or later those pig-headed people find themselves being completely alone. Friends and family, like leaves in the wind, are swept away by the hurricane of obstinacy. Unfortunately, even reaching rock bottom is not enough for them to see the voice of reason. I mean, who needs meaningful connections when you can have the cold comfort of being eternally right, even when the whole world keeps telling you that it's a complete rubbish? It is so much better to wallow in frustration and self-pity, blaming everyone else for your own predicament, right? This is what happens to people who don't want to own up to their mistakes, which brings me nicely to Disney, Marvel, and their own downward spiral of refusal and obstinacy. Let's go down the memory lane to the very last moments before the seemingly indestructible empire started to crumble. When the Endgame was released in April 2019, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was at the absolute peak of popularity. It was an absolute sensation, a definition of business success, producing blockbusters, even making obscure characters like the Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy popular. Avengers Endgame was, and still is, Marvel's highest grossing movie with $2.8 billion in global revenue, successfully closing the Phase 3, bringing the overreaching Thanos arc to an end and wrapping up individual storylines. By no means it wasn't a perfect movie, but it was a satisfactory ending to an era. And that was the problem. It was an ending. A golden era of great stories and inspiring characters was unfortunately no more. Disney's age of political correctness, diversity and inclusion has dawned instead. Many people involved in production left as well. Two of the lead actors finished their contractual commitments and planned on moving on. Third actor has passed away. That meant no more Iron Man, Captain America or Black Panther movies with the original stars. The studio desperately tried to replace them with younger and more diverse versions, but it backfired spectacularly. More on that later. Disney's next problem was that they didn't have a follow-up to Thanos. No overreaching story, no main villain, nothing like that. A complete lack of coordination between directors and writers. Phase 1 led to the Avengers, Phases 2 and 3 led to Infinity War and Endgame. Phase 4 didn't have a goal besides carrying out
the message.
They just tossed out unconnected movies, causing chaos in stories and timelines. The Black Widow movie took place before Endgame. The Eternals and Doctor Strange seemed completely unconnected to anything else. It also didn't help that Kevin Feige, the director of Marvel, has made it clear what the new creative direction would be. More female superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe than male ones, the ratio being 2-to-1. With more pressure on the LGBTQ+ and gender issues. The audience reception to all this has not been positive, as the viewers felt, rightfully so, that the superhero entertainment has changed into a platform to feed them one rightful ideology, offering political education instead of amusement. New movies weren't up to previous Marvel standards. The Eternals was boring. Black Widow was disappointing, Shang-Chi was mediocre at best, Doctor Strange 2 and 4 Love and Thunder were disrespectful towards their main characters. But the worst had yet to come. The biggest problem was that the brand belonged to Disney, and Disney became insistent on the franchise bringing new subscribers to their streaming platform. For fans, that meant one thing. Many important events happened on Disney Plus instead of the movie theater. That included passing the torch to the new Captain America and the new Hawkeye, and Wanda going crazy in WandaVision, leading to Doctor Strange 2. This left the main audience scratching their heads as movies became illogical for those who didn't see the predecessing TV shows. Suddenly, everybody was introduced to new, usually not very likable characters who were supposed to play the role of the original, beloved, established superheroes. Tony Stark? Well, we got a female Ironheart, a genius teenager who didn't need years of experience to achieve exactly the same goal of building a futuristic power armor. Hawkeye? Nah, we got Kate Bishop, a genius archer. Black Panther? Nah, the mantle was taken over by Shuri, a genius young sister of T'Challa, by the way, against the dying wish of Chadwick Boseman, who wanted the character recast. Black Widow? Well, we got Yelena Belova, almost a copy-pasted character, another ass-kicking Russian spy. Ant-Man? He's not that important anymore, his genius teenage daughter, who keeps openly disrespecting her father, by the way, will now get more spotlight. Thor? Don't even get me started on that dumpster fire. One of the coolest and the most powerful characters in comic books has been turned into a complete joke and comic relief.
Oh, you flicked too hard, damn it!
Shall we help him? And eventually, grape.
So with all this happening, with every new movie and TV show, the audience kept losing hope and interest in the franchise. And believe me, it didn't help that directors, writers, execs, hell, whole studios made it perfectly clear that the most important mission for them was promoting diversity and inclusion at the cost of good stories. On top of that, those creatively involved in production kept showing an outright hate towards the more conservative audiences, attacking anybody who criticized quality of movies and shows, claiming that people who don't like the newest installments were toxic fans, bigots, and artists. And who could have thunk it? That approach alienated vast amount of viewers. Viewers who left the franchise or became disillusioned and oscillated towards a complete indifference. For some reason, Disney has forgotten the core rule in business: never attack and blame the customers for not liking your products and services. Then came the financial losses. If we include marketing and other costs, then it paints a bleak picture. No movie since the Endgame has really turned out the profit, except two, Spider-Man No Way Home, but that one was made by Sony and Disney didn't gain much out of it, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but that one was, on the other hand, more of a standalone project of James Gunn, and it is rather impossible to repeat that kind of success. The rest of the productions kept bombing spectacularly. Disney Plus kept bleeding subscribers and the financial projections were not looking optimistic. Increased output sacrificed quality as Marvel Studios thought it was a great idea to pump out as many products as possible without worrying about them not looking or being written well. So the writing became worse and worse with every installment, and Jesus Christ, that CGI.
He almost tasted that. Num 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 num, eat it up. Go play okay, 3, 2, 1. You know I'm the hottest. You ain't never got it. Hit me up.
The law of diminishing returns was already doing its thing, and the Rotten Tomatoes scores reflected the results of overstuffing the audience. Can you guess what solution they came up with? Oh yeah, more diversity, more beta males and strong female bosses. The wacky uncle has doubled down on his delusions and started blaming everybody else once again. But then, finally, The Marvels happened. The movie that already has made the MCU history, and not in a good way. According to Screen Rant, The Marvels opening weekend earned the film $47 million, which presaged a difficult climb towards the movie's $270 million budget. To make matters worse, The Marvels' second weekend saw a massive drop of around 80% in ticket sales, with barely around $10 million earned over the weekend. A record in superhero movie history, as it surpassed movies with worse critics and audience reception such as Morbius and Black Adam. By the way, the last statement isn't exactly true, as Morbius wasn't really well received because it was abysmal, but Black Adam wasn't considered a very bad movie, it was just a nothing burger, a forgettable usual superhero flick. Yeah, perhaps it could have been more successful a couple years prior when superhero craze was at its peak, but that ship has sailed. To add insult to injury, at the same time South Park released its Panderverse special, officially confirming what many YouTubers and independent outlets have been claiming for years. Woke Hollywood has a huge problem, as I believe people keep getting employed there because of their political views, skin color and gender, not talent or experience. Disney has been a leader in that approach for years now, still being the stubborn one in the family, trying the same solution over and over again, despite the fact that it simply does not work. I already said in one of my previous videos, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again but expecting different results. So far, the fresh news confirmed that they prefer going insane instead of changing their approach. Their future plans are basically more of the same, more of the indigestible promotion of intersectionality that made people go into the full indifference mode in the first place. We are going to be blessed with the new adaptation of Blade, adaptation already panned due to rewrites and rumors that the titular protagonist wasn't even going to be a secondary character in his own movie. Echo TV series is still in the works. Rumors say the atmosphere on set is abysmal and people working on it don't have much hope for it to be even mediocre. We haven't heard much news about it. The post-credit scene of The Marvels showed the character of Kamala Khan gathering the team of teenage, strong, independent, genius women for another installment of female team-up that probably nobody will watch. Daredevil Born Again supposedly was such a failure that few already finished episodes were completely scrapped and the series will be reshot from scratch, but nobody knows when. Agatha Harkness TV series about a strong, elderly, magic-wielding woman has been delayed, but in February 2024 we will get a new TV series from Sony's Spider-Verse, Madam Web. It's going to be a show about You guessed it, a team of strong female superheroes, and the most recent news tell us about the new Fantastic Four reboot. In comic books, they were usually portrayed as a loving family of white people, so of course they are going to be changed, race swapped and gender swapped for the modern audiences. It has already been confirmed that the character of Silver Surfer is going to be a woman now because reasons. And knowing Marvel's penchant for diversity and inclusion, I won't be surprised if they cast Lizzo in that role. You know what? I actually admire how obstinate those people are. This borders on total disconnection from reality. The house is on fire, crumbling down, but they still sit inside pretending the smoke and smell of burning flesh are just a minor inconvenience. All they do is following the downward spiral, doubling down, rejecting the facts and denying the chance to find a compromise.
Never compromise. Not even in the face of Armageddon.
I think there is only one solution to that left. Disney has to fall and fall hard. The MCU must burn to the ground, even though that means it would take a long time before the audience start trusting superhero franchises again, if ever. All this has proven one more thing, that great stories do in fact need an end. They need completion, catharsis, closure. That happened already 4 years ago with Endgame. And despite the angry, stubborn uncle shouting at us from the corner of the room, desperately trying to convince us otherwise, we just need to accept it and move on. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe, drop a like and press the notification bell so you won't miss anything I upload. And if you didn't enjoy this, hell, subscribe anyway. At least you will know when there is a new video to actively hate.